I'm Stephen Felix-Jager, the Chair of Worship Arts and Media at Life Pacific University, and I have here with me Matt Stratton.
Hello.
He is one of our freshmen in the WAM program, and just give you a little bit of a background. He has he's come in and got a lot of talent. Came in, knowing a lot about songwriting as it is. But he's still teachable, which is awesome. You took my class and soaked it all up and everything. And he comes from a family. You come from a family of worshipers and worship leaders and musical people in general.
And Dad plays the shofar. And
really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's just a little ram horn.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
I played the saxophone when I was.
We need to feature the shofar in the song sometime. That'll be good. All right. Anyways, so he has 2 songs on his album, "Come With Your River" and "You've Overcome." And so I want to talk a little bit about what inspired you for these. I think we'll focus a little more on "You've Overcome," but tell us a little bit about "Come With Your River." What brought you there? What inspired you for it?
"Come With Your River" is actually an interesting song because I wrote it musically first. On the electric guitar, I was playing it. I felt the chords I was playing. I really felt the just the feeling behind it, like there's something being said behind the chords. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of left that chord progression for a little bit, and then I was on the piano way later, and I was playing just there was like a flat 7 like verse thing, and then it was kind of in 6/8, kind of not, and then I just started singing about the peace and the presence of God that's found when you just lock eyes with the Father and with Jesus. Mm-hmm. And then it started to flow into this feeling that worked great with the chord progression I wrote on the electric guitar. And then the whole song was actually just written in one go. So I just wrote all the verses.
I love that.
I wrote the verses, and then the verses went right into "Come With Your River,"
Sweet.
Flow Through My Heart. And then ultimately the song was just a cry for just to connect with the presence of God and let it be like it talks about, like a river flowing from the throne and just coming and giving you just a fresh touch of His presence, His love. And
awesome.
Yeah, so it was just a cool song for me because I also I was listening. It kind of mixed too with I was listening to like this gospel, a gospel like keys tutorial, and I'm still learning keys and stuff. But I watched this and I was learning some more just like gospel flavor chords and transitions, and then I was trying to learn how to make it honest to me and also honest to what I create, and then that makes it made a cool song.
You can feel it. It has a gospel vibe, but it also has a earthy folk vibe too, which I think is a nice blend of what you got going on. One of my favorite parts on the whole album is that little transition after that first chorus. After the first chorus, just kind of silence. You taper off. And then all of a sudden, Ethan comes in with that guitar.
Yeah, Ethan's amazing.
And I just die. Like when that part happens, I just die.
Yeah, I get crucified.
Good. I was like every time. All right, so another song that you did, and we were able to do an acoustic version with Zoe Stretch, another one of our students, who's awesome, amazing singer. She was on the first EP, and that was really cool. And she's on the song too. But I know that song, "You've Overcome," is a lot more personal to you, and it's just a beautiful worship song that hits hard. We're going to be doing that junk in chapel for years, I think. You know what I mean? Like that's a good one. Thanks, also, man. If you guys want to throw them in your churches, you know what I'm saying? Let's come on. That's what they're for. But talk a little bit about it.
"You've Overcome." That song was definitely more. Other songs I've written have been more of like I'm writing it to the Lord, and there was like a. Like kind of like when people say like in the secret place you're writing the song of just like affection or even just worship between you and God, but that song was more of a prophetic declaration over my life that God kind of gave to me. Mm-hmm. And when I first wrote the chorus, it was actually it was more like the song was given to me, and I was at this chorus. I wrote the chorus at camp in Camp Cedar Crest actually, and this guy named JC Villafan, who's his last name right, was there, and he's doing a songwriting.
It's definitely not.
Like he's doing
Villafan,
he was doing a songwriting workshop, and I remember I was just finished this season with my brother who he fell out of high school, and he was just barely making it because he was going through like just suicide, depression, drug abuse, substance abuse, and he had such a strong walk with the Lord, but then he also had such a dark attack on his life, you know, and I remember walking him through so many times with him, just so much just fear and just like brokenness, you know, and for me seeing that and then like believing, hoping what God's promises are, but then not really seeing it for so long. And then God kind of used, I mean, those times more than anything to show himself as faithful, to show himself as a God who saves, a God who shows up in the middle of the storm, not just after or before, but like Emmanuel, God with us. So like that's what really changed my perspective of God was those times. But it was interesting because the song grew with my testimony, because as he went to college and the battle wasn't over, you know, in his life, and not just him, but other people in my family, and then other things I went through. And the song kind of grew with my own, just with my own walk with the Lord. And it's so interesting how these different scriptures that talks about like, even like, don't worry for I have overcome the world. I didn't even think of that verse when I wrote the song, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, that's great.
It's funny, like I wasn't thinking about these things, but when I wrote the pre-chorus, this is something I'll never forget. It's like I wasn't even thinking when I wrote it. I just wrote like you're going forth and behind me, you're breaking off the guilt and shame, and when the fear comes to find me, I know your love is my defense. It was so interesting as I wrote that, I just felt it come out of me, and then later I was in a moment of a complete anxiety attack, and I found myself singing that over myself.
That's good.
And the peace of God just came over me, and like the Lord literally, it's like he gave me that pre-chorus as a weapon, and if nobody uses that pre-chorus, I got to, you know. And so for me it was just so interesting how I wrote it in a time where I was not experiencing necessarily fear or guilt or shame, but in different times it was like it was prophesying my future, and it was giving me a weapon for what I was going to go through. And so I love that song in that way. And then the bridge is definitely, and then like the verses came the same way the same time as I wrote the pre-chorus, but the bridge was definitely my favorite part of the whole thing. And that one was it was after I shared the whole song, or everything except for the bridge, with my brother John. I was at his house, and I was just sharing with him, and then he has his own testimony.
He has a ton of brothers, by the way. It's not like the same guy.
Yeah, I got 7 brothers, and I got a sister, but big family. I'm one of 11, so for my parents. But I love all my brothers, and there's a lot of amazing. I got a ton of amazing family, but John's amazing worship pastor and a singer, songwriter, and just amazing person in general. But he had his own season in his life where he just had a complete mental breakdown, and things happened in his life, and he didn't know what was happening and what God was doing. And in the middle of that, we saw the most miracles I've ever seen in my life. I've seen the most powerful moments in his weakness, and more than I've seen in his strength, you know. And so it's so interesting how God didn't just restore, but he multiplied after that, and he did so much more through and after that season. It was interesting because we wrote the bridge after we walked through a whole season of just brokenness, and we were singing there, and it was like we're singing that bridge of victory and remembrance. Like we sing hallelujah to the God who saves, the God who shows up, the God who's faithful, and I just think that's something that I'll never forget. It's him singing the bridge with me, and it was just like he just told me, he was like, I feel like we need to make this song be more declarative and triumphant and victorious. Because it's kind of not emo Christian song. It's very E minor, you know. So so like he brought that lift to it that I really believed the song needed, and he put it in a vocal range that's a little harder for me to sing.
Yeah, hey,
but,
you got it.
But I love that song because, like you said, it's very much so just like a declaration and a worship anthem in my heart.
Yeah. So one thing I love about what you're doing. And one thing we try to emulate in worship, and I think it should be emulated in general, is that a worship song is not simply a song. It's not simply a work of art, but it is a work of art that comes out of devotion. It comes out of a reality of a life with God, you know. Yeah. And if it doesn't do that, then we're missing a major point. Like other songs can do that, but worship song, that's different. That's to glorify God. And so I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
You're doing good stuff. I'm excited for the next stuff that's coming. I mean, you're gonna be a sophomore, so we got a long road too, and
it's
gonna be some good stuff.
A lot of good things.
All right, amigo, I'm proud of you. So there you have it. That's the song story for 2 of the songs on the album.
Made it.